I was once a golden producer, a hitmaker, but I willingly stepped into the background for my boyfriend, Ethan, pouring my heart and soul into elevating him to stardom. Later, my vocal cords were damaged, and I went abroad for surgery. He knelt by my bedside, begging me to let him cancel his tour to be with me. I smiled, pushing him away. Your sold-out stadium concert is more important. When I come back, I want to see you become a true superstar of the music industry. 3 years later, he was crowned superstar of the music industry, just as he wished. But all I saw was the officially announced trending news of him and rising star Chloe. In the press releases, Chloe was his sole muse for his creations. In the exclusive recording studio I built for him, Chloe held my original manuscript of his hit song, her face full of arrogance. This is the love song Ethan wrote for me. You, a ghostwriter, will never lay a hand on it in this lifetime. Be smart and get lost, or I'll make sure you wouldn't last in the industry. I snatched the manuscript, tearing it to shreds in front of her. If I can write the first one, I can write the second. But remember this, I can elevate him to stardom, and I can also drag him down with my own hands. Chloe's screams nearly pierced my eardrums. You're crazy. How dare you destroy Ethan's hard work and dedication? She lunged at me, her sharp nails aiming for my face. I sidestepped, then slapped her across the face. The sharp sound echoed in the quiet recording studio. Chloe clutched her face, looking at me in disbelief, tears instantly welling up. You dared to hit me? Hit you? I'd say you're not even worth dirtying my hands. I stared at her coldly, as if watching a clown. What's going on? The door to the recording studio was pushed open, and a figure I knew to my very bones walked in. Ethan. He wore a bespoke suit, his hair meticulously combed, a hint of impatience in his eyes, which instantly turned into concern and anger when he saw the red mark on Chloe's face. Chloe. He rushed forward, pulling Chloe, who was crying piteously, into his embrace. Ethan, she hit me. And she tore up the song you wrote for me. Chloe sobbed in his arms, as wronged as a child. Ethan gently stroked her back, then looked up at me with a cold, unfamiliar gaze. Vivian, you're back in the country? There was no joy of reunion in his voice, only annoyance at being disturbed. If I hadn't come back, I wouldn't have known my recording studio had become your secret love nest. Ethan's face darkened. Vivian, watch your words. Chloe and I are truly in love. She is my sole muse. He paused, a hint of contempt in his eyes. This recording studio is now company property. You lost the right to set foot in here 3 years ago. I let out a bitter laugh. The company? Ethan, have you forgotten who built this company for you from scratch? Forgotten who raised you from an indie livehouse lead singer, step by step, to where you are today? Chapter 3. Paul, an executive from the company behind him, quickly stepped forward. Miss Vivian, you can't say that. Ethan's success today is entirely due to his own talent and hard work. Your help back then was merely insignificant. Paul, my most trusted deputy, now followed Ethan like a dog. Insignificant? I repeated the word, a stab to the heart. All those sleepless nights, compositions, and sacrifices I made for him, in his and his people's mouths, had become insignificant. Ethan shielded Chloe behind him, his face filled with utter impatience. Vivian, stop making a scene here, like a shrew. It's truly unattractive. Who do you think you are? Just a washed-up behind-the-scenes talent. Without me, you're nothing. Security, he yelled towards the door. Get this woman, who trespassed into restricted company areas, thrown out. Several security guards immediately surrounded me. I looked at Ethan's handsome yet cold, indifferent face and suddenly smiled. Throw me out? I walked the core mixing console in the recording studio and lightly pressed a hidden button. Ethan, you probably don't know that the master control for this recording studio isn't with a key, nor a password. It's my fingerprint. The moment the words left my mouth, the entire recording studio's power cut instantly, plunging it into darkness. The expensive equipment emitted a series of short-circuiting noises, then fell silent. In the dark, I could hear Ethan and Chloe's gasps, and Paul's frantic shouts. My voice is the key here. Now, all of you, get out. The recording studio's emergency power came on. Under the dim light, Ethan and Paul's faces were ghastly. Vivian, what have you done? Paul screamed hysterically. Nothing, just activated the highest level of security protocol. I looked around the studio I designed myself. Every single wire, every piece of equipment here, is connected to a self-destruct sequence. Without my authorization, no one will ever use it again. You. Ethan was trembling with rage. You're destroying my new album. Your album? I laughed. Without my compositions, what will you release an album with? Who says we can't do it without your compositions? Chloe shrieked back. Ethan's talent doesn't need a ghostwriter like you at all. Very well. I nodded. Then I'll wait and see what groundbreaking work a superstar creates without me. I ignored their shouting and walked directly out of the recording studio. That afternoon, news of Ethan's new album production being halted immediately went viral. Ethan's team reacted quickly, releasing a statement that painted me as a jealous, irrational woman scorned, claiming I maliciously damaged company property out of jealousy for his relationship with Chloe. Fans were enraged, leaving thousands of venomous curses on my social media accounts. I turned off my phone, indifferent to these comments. Public opinion? That's my old stomping ground. I dialed a long-forgotten number. A young, slightly timmy D voice answered. Hello. Is that Ms. Vivian? Leo, it's me. My voice was calm. Still want to sing? There was a long silence on the other end, followed by suppressed sobs. Yes. I dream of it. Leo, a promising talent I had discovered by chance 3 years ago, had excellent vocal abilities but was too introverted. He was suppressed by Paul and Ethan at the time, and had been shelved until now. Then get ready. I wrote a song for you. After hanging up, I opened my computer and logged into an encrypted cloud drive. It contained all my hard work and dedication from the past 3 years, hundreds of unreleased works. I picked out one of them, the last demo I recorded before my vocal cords were damaged. The song was called Puppet. It was Ethan's hit song. Only, the version on the cloud drive was sung by me. I sent the audio file to a media contact I knew well. Do me a favor and get this trending? In less than an hour, a blurry audio file broke the internet. In the audio, my voice was clear and penetrating. Even through the static, the soul and emotion unique to the creator were far beyond Ethan's cover version. The entire music industry was shook. The internet completely exploded. Ethan's fans attacked me frantically, claiming the audio was AI generated, a meticulous forgery by me. Ethan's public relations team immediately stepped in, spending a fortune to remove trending topics and delete posts, accusing me of malicious defamation. Next, Chloe started a live stream. On camera, she was crying pitifully, looking frail and heartbroken. I don't know why Ms. Vivian is doing this. She was once the person Ethan respected most, and my most admired senior. Only those of us close to Ethan know how much he sacrifices for music. He often stays in the recording studio for days and nights for a single note. If my relationship with Ethan has hurt her, I'm willing to step down. I beg her, please don't hurt Ethan anymore, his music is innocent. A tearful performance garnered immense sympathy for her. The tide of public opinion instantly turned, and I became the internet's most reviled ex. Just as the entire internet was condemning me, a song titled Rebirth was released on major music platforms without warning. The arrangement of this song was sharp, the melody catchy, bearing Vivian's signature style. Ant's voice, clear and powerful, like a sharp sword, sliced through the music industry's false calm. The lyrics, too, every lyric struck a nerve. As soon as the song went online, it spread like wildfire. Those in the know recognized it instantly. This was the true Vivian, the Vivian who could turn stone into gold. The popularity of Rebirth even overshadowed Ethan and Chloe's scandal. The new trending topic, like a resounding slap in the face, landed on Ethan. Just then, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered, and an unexpected voice came from the other end. Vivian, aren't you done yet? It was my cousin, Adam. My parents passed away young, and his family adopted me. He had always followed me, managing my assets. What are you doing? Do you know this will ruin the company? Ethan is the pillar of the company right now. If you destroy him, all of us will starve. His tone was full of accusation and incomprehension. I frowned. Adam, this company is mine. It's yours, but it's making money because of Ethan now. Vivian, come to your senses, stop being stubborn. You can't win against him. You must immediately issue a statement, apologize to Ethan and Chloe, and say everything before was a misunderstanding. I'll help you plead with Ethan and ask him to forgive you this time. Listening to his entitled demands, my heart sank little by little. Adam, I interrupted him, my vocal cords were injured, and you were managing the company's accounts during the 3 years I was abroad for treatment, right? There was a moment of silence on the other end. Yes. Yes, why? Nothing. I hung up the phone, my eyes cold. Some things I needed to confirm myself. The next day, Adam stormed directly to my home. As soon as he entered, he threw a document in front of me. Vivian, look at what you've done. How much has the company's stock price fallen? You need to come with me immediately to see Ethan and apologize to him. He looked anxious and pained, as if I had done something outrageous. Adam, are you so afraid that I'll ruin Ethan? I didn't look at the document, just calmly watched him. I'm not afraid. I'm doing this for your own good, for the company's good. He raised his voice. What is Ethan's status now? If you provoke him, you're digging your own grave. He earnestly advised me, Vivian, I know you're angry, but love can't be forced. Ethan and Chloe are truly in love. Just let them be. You can't win against them, they have an entire capital backing them. I looked at him and suddenly smiled. Capital? You mean, using my money to boost my enemies? Adam's face stiffened. Vivian, what? What do you mean? I wasn't recovering from illness these 3 years abroad. My voice was soft, yet it made Adam pale with shock. The private clinic in Switzerland I was at wasn't treating vocal cord damage, but chronic poisoning. Adam's pupils constricted sharply, and his lips began to tremble. I checked all the remittance records for the past 3 years. You transferred a 9-figure sum from my private account under the guise of my treatment. And most of that money went to Ethan and Chloe's overseas accounts. A small portion. I picked up another document from the table and handed it to him. You used it to buy yourself an oceanfront villa. Adam's face instantly turned ashen. He dropped to his knees in front of me. Vivian, I was wrong. I was blinded by greed. It was Ethan. Ethan forced me. He clung to my leg, crying piteously. He said that as long as you were gone, the company would be ours. That drug. He also found someone to get it. He said it would just cause some trouble. EMS with your voice, temporarily preventing you from singing, with no life-threatening danger. I truly didn't know it would be so serious. Vivian, believe me. I listened to his sobbing quietly, my heart feeling as if it were submerged in ice water, slowly losing its warmth. So, it wasn't just a simple betrayal. It was a premeditated murder. Before I went abroad, Ethan knelt by my bedside, begging me to let him cancel his tour to be with me. His tender appearance, now, only filled me with utter disgust. He wasn't afraid I'd be lonely. He was afraid I wouldn't die far enough away. I slowly pulled my leg away, looking down at the man kneeling on the floor. The warmth and kinship of the past, in that moment, turned to ashes. I once thought I had only lost a lover. Now I understood I had been dancing with devils. My anger, my sorrow, vanished at that moment, replaced by an unprecedented clarity and calmness. I looked at Adam's tear-streaked face and slowly spoke. You're right. Adam paused, looking up, a flicker of hope in his eyes. I leaned down, close to his ear, and whispered in a voice only we could hear, I want to see them ruined. Adam collapsed onto the floor, looking at me in terror, as if seeing a stranger. I didn't pay him any more attention, but made a phone call. A few minutes later, several men in black suits, tall and well-built, walked in. They were the security team I had secretly assembled while abroad, loyal only to me. Keep an eye on him, I calmly instructed. He's not to go anywhere until he spills everything he shouldn't have taken. Yes, Ms. Vivian. Adam was dragged away, still wailing futilely. After dealing with him, I immediately had my lawyer draft a share transfer agreement and notified all company directors to hold an emergency meeting. In the conference room, Paul and a group of Ethan's supporting executives were smugly discussing how to completely kick me out. Ethan was also prominently seated, and Chloe, like a proud peacock, intimately held his arm. When they saw me walk in, everyone fell silent for a moment. Paul was the first to attack. Vivian, you still have the nerve to come to the company? You maliciously damaged company property and reputation, and we've decided to formally remove you from all your positions. Oh really? I walked to the head of the table and gracefully took my seat. On what grounds? Because I am the biggest contributor to the company, and you are just a hindrance. Ethan sneered. This company has nothing to do with you anymore. Oh. I tossed a document onto the table, pushing it towards him. Then take a good look and see who truly calls the shots in this company now. On the document was the share transfer agreement Adam had just signed. With his shares, My shareholding percentage in the company had exceeded 60%. I was the absolute controlling shareholder. Paul and Ethan's faces instantly changed. This is impossible. Adam, what about him? I interrupted Paul, pressing the projector button in the conference room. On the big screen, a video began to play. It was Adam's confession, as he tearfully recounted how he colluded with Ethan to poison me, transfer my assets, and attempt to seize the company for themselves. Every word was like a bombshell, exploding in the quiet conference room. All the directors stared at Ethan in shock, their eyes filled with shock and disdain. Chloe's face was already drained of color, she clutched Ethan's arm, trembling incessantly. Ethan was ashen-faced, he stared intensely at me, as if trying to find a trace of a joke on my face. But I just looked at him coldly. Paul, I spoke, my voice low but carrying an undeniable authority, you're fired. Now, get out. Ethan. I turned to him. All your activities are suspended. The company will conduct a thorough investigation into all accounts handled by you and Adam. As for you, my gaze fell on Chloe, who was already shell-shocked, you'd better pray that the receipts for all those luxury items bought with my money are still intact. Vivian. You psycho. Ethan finally broke down, standing up abruptly and screamed hysterically at me. I'm not crazy. I stood up and walked towards him step by step. I'm just here to collect my debts. The company's internal audit was swift and decisive. The results were more horrifying than I had imagined. Over the past 3 years, Ethan and Adam had abused their positions, cooked the books, used shady contracts, and siphoned off hundreds of millions from the company. Most of this money had been used to fund Chloe's lavish lifestyle. Designer bags, jewelry, luxury cars, real estate. Ethan even used this money to invest in a film company for Chloe, making her the boss. I didn't hesitate to hand all the evidence over to my legal team. The first thing I wanted to do was tear apart Chloe's glamorous facade. I had a detailed list compiled, documenting every luxury item Chloe had purchased, along with the source of the funds. Then, I anonymously sent this list to the most scathing fashion bloggers and entertainment influencers. The evidence was irrefutable, leaving her no room to deny it. Chloe's innocent rich girl persona collapsed overnight. All her past press releases boasting about her disregard for fame and fortune and pure love for art now seemed like a joke. Next, I released a second bombshell. Chloe was not the newcomer she claimed to be. She had been involved in various talent shows years ago, but was eliminated due to lack of talent. Moreover, I found video evidence of her bullying teammates and maliciously stealing others' work during her talent show days. The entire internet was in an uproar. Brands that once flocked to her all terminated their contracts. The film company he generously invested in for her was also sealed and seized by me through legal means. Chloe was completely ruined. Unwilling to accept defeat, she rushed to my company building late one night, screaming like a madwoman. I had security let her in. In my office, she no longer had her former arrogance. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes bloodshot, glaring at me. Vivian, why are you doing this to me? You've ruined me. You've ruined everything I have. I ruined you? I sat behind my large desk, calmly looking at her. What part of you is truly yours? Your fame, your resources, your wealth, they were nothing but a mirage built on my suffering. I stood up and walked towards her. You were never a muse. You were just Ethan's money laundering tool, a walking, expensive invoice. Chloe's body swayed, the last trace of color draining from her face. She collapsed to the floor, letting out a desperate whimper. With handled, Ethan became a tiger without teeth. His assets were frozen, his career suspended, and his reputation plummeted. The superstar adored by all was now a public enemy. He finally felt fear. He began to try every way to contact me, frantically calling and texting me, but I ignored him entirely. Until one night, he actually appeared at my doorstep. He looked much more haggard, unshaven, with sunken eyes, no longer possessing his former spirited and energetic demeanor. When he saw me, he dropped to his knees with a thud. Vivian, I was wrong, I was truly wrong. He clung to my leg, crying like a child. It was all Adam, he led me astray. I was led astray for a moment, which led me to do those terrible things. He tearfully confessed, trying to evoke a shred of sympathy from me. Do you remember? The first time we met, at that small, underground live house, you said my voice was heavenly. Do you remember? We ate instant noodles together, crammed into a cramped studio apartment, and you said that one day you would put me on the biggest stage. Vivian, have you forgotten all our years of history? He looked up, tears in his eyes. It was the most irresistible gaze I had once known. For a moment, my heart did ache for a moment. Those past sweet memories flashed through my mind like movie scenes. But the next second, they were replaced by bone-chilling cold and disgust. I didn't speak, but returned to the living room, took out a voice recorder, and pressed play. From it came the conversation between Ethan and Adam. It was Adam calling Ethan after I had him detained. In the recording, Ethan's voice was full of disdain and triumph. That foolish woman, she really thinks I went to beg her? It was just putting on a show for her. Once I charm her back and get what she has, she'll have no more utility. How's her voice? That drug, no lasting side effects, right? Wouldn't want her to actually die, that would be a hassle. The conversation from the voice recorder continued, while Ethan, kneeling before me, had turned from pale to ashen. He stared at me in disbelief, trembling like a leaf. All his carefully woven lies and pretenses were mercilessly torn apart by me at that moment. He finally understood that I knew everything. I watched his complete breakdown, without a ripple of emotion in my heart. I merely stated a fact to him. Ethan, did you think I just wanted to ruin your career? No. I don't even plan on letting you, the person, off the hook. Ethan went completely insane. Knowing that begging was useless, he began throwing caution to the wind. He preemptively held a press conference. At the press conference, he admitted to embezzling company funds, but pushed all the blame onto Adam, claiming he was deceived. He tearfully apologized to the public, and to me. He admitted to his relationship with Chloe but firmly denied the accusation of poisoning me, instead implying that due to emotional entanglement, I was mentally unstable and carrying out a crazy vendetta against him. He tried to use this method to gain public sympathy and cling to a last shred of hope. His performance was successful. Some uninformed fans and passers-by began to waver. Maybe there's really a misunderstanding? Vivian's methods are indeed a bit too ruthless. It takes two to tango. It's hard to say who's right or wrong in matters of the heart. Just as public opinion began to subtly shift, I also held my press conference. All the media thought I would throw out irrefutable evidence of Ethan's poisoning, condemning him completely. Ethan himself probably thought the same. However, I didn't. The press conference began, and I didn't mention a word about my personal grievances with Ethan. I announced a brand new initiative, the Phoenix. We will launch a music support program for all musicians who have been overlooked, suppressed, or had their work stolen. The company will provide them with top-tier resources, the most professional team, to help them achieve their musical dreams. On the large screen behind me, unfamiliar faces appeared one by one. They were all original musicians who, over the years, had been suppressed, shelved, or even had their work directly stolen by Ethan and Paul using various means. And the first collaborating artist for the Phoenix was Leo. The entire venue erupted in an uproar. No one expected me to respond to Ethan's accusations in this way. I disdained getting into a public argument with him. I would use my expertise, my talent, and my resources to rebuild a music industry he had corrupted. I would use vibrant successes to prove his incompetence and vileness. This was more devastating than any evidence. At the end of the press conference, I walked to the center of the stage. Under the spotlight, I picked up the microphone. I know many people are concerned about my voice. I smiled, clearing my throat. Then, I sang a snippet, the chorus of a new song I had just written. My voice, through the microphone, clearly reached the entire venue and spread across the internet. That voice was clearer and purer than 3 years ago, filled with the power of rebirth from the ashes. Everyone was stunned. The live stream's chat, at that moment, completely froze. After a few seconds, it exploded with a torrent of messages. Oh my God. Her voice. It's healed? This voice. This singing. This is true superstar level. I finally understand why Ethan wanted to harm her. With her around, who would want to listen to Ethan? My return was not for revenge. It was to reclaim what was rightfully mine, including the throne that Ethan had usurped for 3 years. After the Phoenix was launched, the entire music industry was shook. I personally spearheaded the creation of Leo's first album, Nirvana. On the day of its release, all 10 songs dominated the major music charts. The lead single, Nirvana, even broke all records, reaching over 1 million comments within an hour of its release. Leo became an overnight sensation, transforming from an obscure talent shelved for years into the hottest new star in the music industry. Following this, the musicians whom Ethan had suppressed also began to speak out with my help. They presented their works and recounted their experiences. It turned out that many of Ethan's so-called original songs were stolen inspiration from these obscure talents. He was like a greedy parasite, feeding on others' talents to construct his false music empire. The truth was finally revealed. Ethan's superstar halo shattered completely. His name became synonymous with thief and liar. Fans unfollowed en masse, even turned against him, digging up all his past dirt. He became a joke. I held a grand concert for all the musicians of the Phoenix. The concert was named Judgment. That night, the arena was packed. Leo, as the headliner, sang the final song. That song was written specifically for him, and also for Ethan. The song was called Goodbye, King. The sound of thousands of voices singing in unison reverberated through the sky. I sat in the backstage monitoring room, quietly watching it all. I knew Ethan must be watching too. He must see that without him, this world, this music, would only be more brilliant. This was the cruelest judgment for him. After the concert, my assistant told me that Ethan, in his mansion, smashed everything he could, like a caged beast, letting out a desperate roar. His era had completely ended. Wen's commercial value was completely wiped out by me. When he transformed from a superstar on a pedestal to a universally reviled fraud, only then did I hand the delayed evidence over to the police. All the evidence of his poisoning, money laundering, and embezzlement and misappropriation of funds. The evidence was irrefutable, leaving him no room to deny it. Ethan, Adam, Paul, and their cabal of interests were all caught in one swoop. On the day of the trial, I didn't go. I only saw footage of him being escorted by bailiffs on television. He wore a prison uniform and handcuffs, his hair turned gray, as if he had aged 20 years overnight. Through the screen, he seemed to look at me, his eyes filled with malice and resentment. But I no longer cared. A few months later, I received a phone call from the prison, saying Ethan wanted to see me. I considered it for a moment, then went. Behind the visitation window, I saw him. He had lost a lot of weight, his eyes hollow, like a shell of a man. Why? He picked up the phone, his voice hoarse. We used to be so good, why are you so cruel? Why did you destroy me? I looked at him and calmly replied, I didn't destroy you. I merely withdrew my hand, stopped sculpting you. And so, you reverted to your true self. A piece of rotten mud. He froze, then burst into a frantic laugh, and as he laughed, tears streamed down his face. I didn't look at him again, put down the phone, and turned to leave. Walking out of the prison gates, the sun was bright, somewhat dazzling. I looked up, taking a deep breath. The air smelled of freedom and new beginnings. Everything was over. 1 year later, my music company became the undisputed leader in the industry. The Phoenix was a huge success. Leo swept all major awards, becoming the new generation's star of the music industry, a true king. And I was no longer content to just be a behind-the-scenes force. I released my first solo album. The album was released without any promotion, yet on its launch day, it broke all records set by Leo. I stepped from behind the scenes to the forefront, becoming an irreplaceable legend in the music industry. One day, the company had an interviewing new talent. My assistant handed me his resume. The boy in the photo was very young, with clean-cut features, holding a guitar, smiling somewhat shyly. But his eyes were clear and resolute, filled with a craving for music. Very much like someone from many years ago. I looked at the photo, slightly lost in thought. The assistant whispered beside me, Ms. Vivian, this boy's name is Alex. He's very talented, but he has no background. I heard several companies rejected him before. I smiled, closing the file. Let him in. I want to talk to him myself. My story would no longer have a male lead. Because I was my own leading lady. When walked into my office, he seemed a bit nervous. He wore a faded t-shirt, clutching his old guitar tightly, as if holding his entire world. Hello, Ms. Vivian, he said, too nervous to speak clearly. I gestured for him to sit down and poured him a glass of water. Don't be nervous. Play me one of your own songs. He nodded, took a deep breath, and strummed the guitar strings. Simple guitar chords, a clean and clear voice, singing a young man's aspirations for dreams and distant horizons. There were no flashy techniques, but it was filled with the purest passion. When the song ended, he looked at me uneasily. I looked at him, as if seeing myself many years ago. You have talent, I said. His eyes lit up, filled with surprise. But, I shifted my tone, talent alone isn't enough. This industry is complex, full of temptations and traps. You might achieve overnight fame or plummet to rock bottom in an instant. You might encounter many who elevate you, and countless others who want to crush you. I looked into his eyes, asking him deliberately, are you ready to use your talent to stand up against this world? Alex was stunned. He seemed not to have expected me to ask him this. He remained silent for a long time, then looked up, his gaze more resolute than ever. Ms. Vivian, I don't know what the future holds. But I know if I don't give my all for music now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life. I don't want to regret it. I smiled. In him, I saw the purest passion for music. This is what I want to protect most right now. All right, I stood up and extended my hand to him. Alex, welcome to the company. However, I have one condition. What condition? He quickly stood up, looking at me nervously. Never forget why you're standing here today. Never forget what you sing for. And never become the kind of person you once despised. Alex nodded emphatically, his eyes slightly reddened. I've got it, Ms. Vivian. He reached out and firmly gripped my hand. Outside the window, the sun was shining brightly. I knew a new story had begun. And this time, I am the author. And I will write the ending.